Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Sarah, and this is Sarah's Cardboard. It's an honor to see you guys today, and I'm sorry that it took me so long to get back here and record some videos. I had some things that I have really been trying to focus on the TikTok front, as well as things in my witchcraft have kind of been adjusting. And I kind of wanted to talk about that because I have conquered the most recent issue, which was like the gap that I was facing when it came to my witchcraft business. So I have rolled out my business. I now do business consultant and personal advising and spiritual mentor through tarot services. And it's not this full-time gig that I can stake my claims on and say, yeah, I'm a full-time business owner. I'm not. I'm a part-time business owner. I'm not having this huge conversion rate of viewers to clients. And I don't think that I was doing anything wrong. I kept wondering if this was like something that existed outside of myself. I kept wondering if someone was like stepping in to energetically cause the issue. I kept wondering things about that. And really, what it came down to was I wasn't able to visualize the progress I was making because it was in an intangible way. And so I kind of have a new project that I've been working on. I have now started tracking the tarot reads that I do, whether free or not free, paid or unpaid. I have been tracking them as a new mechanism that I've been doing. I actually have an update to make for this week's tarot reading. That way I can see the progress that I'm making and the things that matter to me. And it's not just about getting clients, it's about building the legitimacy of the business that I own. And so I can talk about how spent years learning tarot before I ever gave my free tarot reads. And then I've spent years, or like over a year, giving free tarot readings before I started taking payment for tarot reads. But that's not something that I can showcase and quantify and pinpoint in a portfolio. And yesterday I had 2 client calls, and it was very interesting because both of my clients are looking towards being content creators and are trying to build up their legitimacy into why they deserve to be well known and famous for their content creation. And they're both pivoting towards a away from their niche and into just a self content creation. And both of them, I gave the answer of, "Hey, have you built your portfolio yet?" Um, one of them is talking about makeup, one of them is talking about self-love, and I kept coming back around to, well, they wanna make this creation content, they want to be well known for it, they want to be able to go on panels and podcasts and conventions, and they want to go and do these things, and yet something is stopping them. What is it? It's building up your portfolio. And I realized that looking back at me, I didn't have my portfolio up and available for people to see the legitimacy of all of the efforts I've been building. And I remember I talked about that explicitly here on YouTube, that the content I am creating on YouTube is my portfolio. That one day this camera will be upgraded and, hey, the microphone is upgraded. I hope it sounds okay. It's my first time using it recording, but I got a chance to reflect and go, "Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm building up the portfolio of my legitimacy." And so I get the opportunity to, like, okay, I'm not where I wanna be yet, but that doesn't mean what I'm doing is not legitimate. It just means that I'm growing in legitimacy, that I'm gaining a new way of looking at legitimacy. I'm showcasing it in new ways, in quantifiable, real ways. Um, and so I'm really glad that I took a pause on YouTube for a second. I got a chance to kind of learn within myself and like integrate the lesson that I learned, which was the issue I was having between recognition and effort was gratitude. That was the formula. I don't know if I ever made the video and posted it last time. I think I recorded it and then I just didn't like the video, and so I didn't like actually post it. But that was something I was struggling with, was gratitude. Like, it was effort and recognition. It was being recognized for my effort. And it's so funny because before I even got on live, or before I got on to record today, I was lamenting about how the past couple of days I keep getting treated like this beginner. I keep getting questioned in the longevity of my practice. So I've been working out for 4 years. I was really consistent bodybuilding with my boyfriend. And then I built my home gym, navigated some injuries throughout that time, navigated a couple of health issues. And now I'm back in the gym with a lot more energy. And I'm accomplishing a lot more things. And I got told, hey, you shouldn't be going that long when you're just starting out. I am not just starting out. I have been doing this for years. I own a home gym in my house. Like, I have been working out for years. And then I was like, "Oh, wait, it's probably because 'cause I'm still fat. That's probably why this person feels like," and it's not even just this person, but it's like anyone. Anyone could look at me and go, "Well, there's no way this person's been doing it for 4 years." Well, I have. It just my 4 years looks different than other 4 years because I did it in sustainable ways that honored the mundane aspect of my life. Um, I had chronic health issues. Turns out I have a huge issue with gluten. I like was really struggling to recover hormonally from all of my workouts. It was excruciating. I used to cry almost every day in the gym. My boyfriend would scale up and up and up in his abilities, and then I was making no progress, despite eating healthy, despite going all the time, despite getting the rest and the protein and all of the additives, just to figure out, oh, it was just gluten that was stopping me. And then now that I am officially, I want to say almost 2 years, maybe I think it's 2 years of being gluten free. I have noticed that or I think it's a year. I don't even know. It's been a long time. Again, quantifiable, legitimacy is hard to recognize when I wasn't posting about it. I wasn't talking about it. There's nowhere that's tracking it. No one's paying attention to it. But now that I have reached this point where I have been gluten free for so long, the ability to go to the gym and actually make progress is there. I am scaling up in my capabilities. I am scaling up in my energy. I'm already seeing progress in the gym. I'm already seeing that I'm able to handle more. So I'm not just starting out, it's that the results are just finally starting to kick in. And it took 4 years of learning and going and being disciplined and like doing everything that I can to ensure that what I was doing was worth doing. And yet that is still perceived as a beginner. And that is the same in my witchcraft. I've been doing witchcraft since I was 12 years old. I have been studying it. I have been reading the books. I have been researching. I have spent a really long time learning about my gods and my goddesses and the way that energy works. And I did a huge hiatus where I did a really long ego deep dive and I went through ego death and I dismantled myself on the inside, when it came to everything in my life leading up to this point. And I healed a lot of trauma through witchcraft, through energy work. Um, and I perform spells, I've done coven work, I had beginner, study groups that I hosted. I There's so many things that I have accomplished with witchcraft, but because I am just now getting, to 1,000 followers, hey, 1,000 followers on TikTok, and I, like, am not the one to post my spells and my results, and I'm not really quick to grab the spell components to hurry up and handle a mundane issue. And the fact that I haven't entered into the baneful category of magic, I got asked more than once, "Are you a new practitioner?" No, I am not a new practitioner. I am gaining new abilities that I'm learning to enmesh into my life and actually regulate my capabilities of these abilities. And that I have new gods and goddesses that are stepping forward for me to work with. And I'm starting to step into the understanding that baneful work is the next part of my path. But that does not make me a new practitioner. And so this is what I have been struggling with for so long, with my business. And mind you, I only launched the business back in like what, April? So we're coming on 4 months of it. And I know that's new. That is not my fault. There's nothing I can do to change the amount of time I have spent having the business open. No one got to watch the setup process. No one got to watch the months and years of getting ready to offer these services in a long-term way that allow me to do it in a legitimate and organized way that does not harm me, that does not fall flat. And I offer it for free in part because I know accessibility is an issue. And yet, because I had delayed myself so long in being an official business, I am now viewed as a beginner. The same thing with my YouTube. I have only started posting a couple months ago, and now I am a new YouTuber. I'm a beginning YouTuber. But I have been making YouTube videos since I was 12 years old as well. Actually, 11. There's an old YouTube channel of me at 11 years old with videos, and I was posting at 15, I was posting at 16, I was posting at 19. But things change in the way that I enter the stream of YouTube and the way that I enter the content creation that I have done has adjusted and changed throughout my life under new channel names, new logins, new ideas, new ideals, new things that I want to accomplish. And yet, somehow, some way, I can never escape the perpetual perception of I'm a beginner. I am new to this. And there's no amount of legitimacy in what I say and what I do and the way I showcase my capabilities that's ever going to change somebody else's perception of me being a beginner because I don't meet their criteria of what a beginner doesn't look like. And so that is something that I am now navigating. So I went from struggling with recognition of effort to knowing that I needed gratitude for the recognition I was receiving. Okay, so I accomplished that. But now I am struggling with that exact same concept in a new way. How do I showcase that I am not a new beginner? How do I showcase that I've been doing this for more of my life than I've been alive not doing it? Okay, I started when I was 12. I'm turning 27 in 2 weeks. I am not a beginner. I have been studying for a really long time. I have a lot of associations. I work a lot with witchcraft, but because I operate in an entirely different way, I can't help but be perceived the way that they want to perceive me. And that is really sad. And that makes me a little frustrated. And that, like, I kind of laugh about it. And it makes me go back to the workout analysis of like, oh, it's because I'm fat. It's because I'm fat that this person thinks I'm just now starting out working out. But they don't know that I had a chronic eating disorder when I was a teenager, where I was 100 pounds sopping wet and I was working out 8 hours a day and I had multiple gym classes and I was starving myself and that I was skin and bones. So I was skinny at one point and I wasn't just starting out. I was in dance class, I was in PE, I was running with the track team without even being a part of the track team. I was walking all the time. I was running my neighborhoods constantly. And then as a result of me pushing myself out so hard as a teenager, I now have a lifelong knee injury that has shaped the way that workouts will look like for the rest of my life. I don't need to put my eating disorders as a teenager on display to gain legitimacy in the fact that I am fat right now because I have a gluten issue that I didn't know about. How is that one and the same? How am I expected to gain legitimacy without showcasing the trauma that was a part of the legitimacy track? I have been a very active person my entire life. There was at one point where I was not this fat girl, and yet I am now still considered to be starting out because I am still fat because I don't want to tiptoe back into the stream of an eating disorder. I take my time. I am calm about it. I take diligence in the actions I take. I am calmer about the way I eat my food. I don't hurry up and try to crash my diet. I don't starve myself for results. I don't hurry up and go to the gym and work out as hard as possible because I know what happens when you do not have restraint. I have seen the other end of being fat, and that was being so skinny that I was being monitored by my friends at school and forced to eat and not allowed to go to the bathroom because I was throwing it up. And so I may look like a beginner now, but that's because my beginning was their beginning, right? My beginner was their beginning. This is not the beginning for me. And so this is the same thing with witchcraft. I have tiptoed down the path a way that I should never have tiptoed down before. As a teenager, I was performing spells that I had no business performing. I was researching topics I had no business researching. I was learning things that would not be applicable to my life for years to come. There was no reason for me to showcase the trauma associated with my witchcraft to gain legitimacy. I don't need to talk about it all. I don't need to put it all on display. But because I don't, I have to regain the legitimacy of the longevity of my practice. And that is frustrating. Why is it that I have to put all that I am on display and dig out every single horrible thing about myself that has been handled accordingly to gain legitimacy as a non beginner? Let me see you go and spend 26 weeks, 60 hours a day meditating from the time you were born until you're an adult and relive every single trauma you've ever experienced in your life until it was so totally lived through that you had no other choice but to move on to the next age from birth on. Tell me that you can handle 60 hours a week for 26 weeks straight of meditation stuck in your head, reliving the worst horrors of your life, being starved, being victims, being abused, being neglected, navigating what it means to watch your parents undergo addiction and relive it over and over and over again until you relive it so totality that you have no other choice but to move on and you move through the grief cycle. And you do this all through meditation. Tell me that you abandoned your ego. Tell me that you've done your shadow work. Tell me that you've worked as hard as I have worked. And then we can talk. Show me what you have done. See? I now am asking to see your evidence, but you were asking for mine. And so now here is my evidence, right? And this wasn't anyone's business. It wasn't anything I needed to showcase. This wasn't a feat that I was proud of. It was a requirement to level up in the ways that I wanted to have access to. I wanted to stop being a part of a joke that I didn't understand. I didn't want to continue to be the person who didn't get the joke that everyone else around me was telling and that I was constantly falling flat of understanding. So I healed and 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 I worked from the ground up and I take my time. I do it with patience. I do it with diligence. I do it without asking for recognition of what I have done because that is not what I want to be recognized for. All of the feats I've accomplished in witchcraft is no one else's business. It is behind closed doors in the dead of night for a reason. People were burned at the stake for this. And yet you want me to put it on display to showcase that what I do has weight to it. And that is not fair. It is not a requirement of witchcraft to showcase the darkest parts of yourself for somebody else to deem you no longer a beginner. So I don't feel the need to do that. I reference what I referenced today in this video because I felt comfortable showcasing it, and it is building up my portfolio for a lifelong adventure of posting content and building up my legitimacy in witchcraft. So I will showcase it as I feel needed. I will share it as I feel called to it, and it will be applicable when I choose for it to be applicable. And that is what I believe witchcraft should be about. It's not about how fast you can pull the trigger on a baneful working to accomplish getting back at somebody. I don't believe that that is where power is at. I believe power is in delay. And I talked about this on my TikTok, how I don't immediately jump into using something I procure. I have a few spiritual items that I have been gifted or I have purchased over the course of the last month that sit and wait for me. I have a mala for a goddess that I do not have under my wing that has already accepted me as someone that's going to be working with her. And I do not immediately reach for that mala and start performing the japa mantras for it. I wait. I have an oracle deck that I was gifted for my birthday early that sits and it waits because I'm not going to jump into receiving messages right away just because I have it at the palms of my hand. I have a spiritual cologne that I've ordered that has amazing capabilities from numerous practices that are new to me. And I know the capabilities behind that spiritual cologne are immense. And yet I do not reach for it because power is in delay. Power is in being able to pause before you make the choice to do it and to evaluate and allow it to integrate so totality in your system that it makes no sense to let it wait any longer. There is no harm in me waiting. There is no cost in me letting it sit and wait. It isn't. This was something that my old manager had ingrained into me, and I wish that I had understood this sooner, and I wish I integrated as fast as he was trying to get me to understand. But fast is slow and slow is fast. And it is a life-saving measure in life and in witchcraft, and that is something that I hold with an immense regard now, and I wish that I understood it sooner, and I wish I implemented it into my life when he told me it all those years ago, and I wish it was something that I had evidence of doing, but I didn't because I didn't understand patience, and I didn't understand the lack of fear when it came to getting something completed. I ran off of anxiety and stress and perfectionism, and I wanted things done so quickly, so fast that I made mistakes that were irreversible and they tainted my reputation and they tainted my legitimacy and my integrity. And so instead of me learning it when I should have and where it was the most applicable, I am forced to reflect and use it now. And so there are many instances now going on in my day-to-day life where fast is slow and slow is fast. And I am reminded of it at all times for both witchcraft and in my life. And so I believe there is power in delay. I believe there is power in the ability to ground and to be present before you make a choice. Because unless it needs to be done right this second, it doesn't need to be done right this second. It's really that simple. It's a lesson in witchcraft and in life, and it is not mine to teach. It was mine to learn. And so that is something that I hold very near and dear in my heart, in my practice. And the more I implement this teaching into my day to day life, the more I look like a beginner because apparently a beginner is the only one who acts with caution, and a beginner is the only one who acts with regard for the power that we have at our hands. Because I guess along the way, your confidence overtakes you and your ego overtakes you. And at some point in witchcraft, you stop being a beginner that is cautious of your power and you begin to act recklessly and quickly and faster than you should. And so maybe that is the issue. Maybe it's not that I am perceived as a beginner, but it's that someone else is being reminded that they have lacked in their caution, that they should have taken in their practice and have taken in their actions. And I see it. I see it all the time. I see the way that people choose to handle issues I'm having at work where they jump the gun and they handle it before I get the chance to handle it myself. Or people in my day to day life, they want to handle something before I get the opportunity to address it myself. People in witchcraft and in witch talk jump the gun and hurry up and respond to something before they get the chance to talk it through with their advisors. And I'm an advisor. I am an advisor. I'm a business consultant. I'm a spiritual mentor. That is something that I offer. That is my service because I have taken the time to recognize what it means to get feedback. And I talked about this before on live stream, but now this is going to be a part of my portfolio because initiatives are meant to be a part of this lesson of fast is slow and slow is fast. And so a good initiative should exist beyond yourself. It should be able to be ran without you present. So this is my example, my most recent example of a good initiative. I work in a Pokemon card shop. Okay. I work with cards. That's what I do. I work with bulk cards. And so we have a bunch of sets that are organized a very specific way. And I'm going to teach you how to organize the cards in our card shop. And by the end of me explaining to you in about 5 minutes, you will understand how it works. Not even. So we have two boxes for every set. One set is commons and uncommons that are non-hollow. A hollow is a reflective surface or surface. And so we have two boxes. First box, common and uncommon, super simple. Just make sure that all that is in that box is the uncommon and common cards with non-hollow patterns with that set name. So you have to go through the whole box and check the bottom corner and see that the set name is the set and that there's no hollows in that box. Super easy. Put that box away. You pull the second box out. That box is going to hold trainers that are both non-hollow and hollow, reverse hollows and hollows. And we're going to separate that box into three categories. And we're going to put a little white marker in between. So your job is to go through that entire box and you're going to separate out trainers into one stack, reverse hollows into another, and then hollows into another stack. And then you're going to go through that stack and you're going to make sure that entire stack is nothing but that exact card list. Okay. And so you're going to check that bottom corner. Okay, all of these are reverse hollows. You put it in the box, you put a little white marker. And then you go through all the hollows and make sure it's the correct box and you put it in. And then the trainers, all of the trainers, you put it in the box. If there is overflow because of this new system, because some boxes, the trainers used to be a part of the common and uncommons. Now the new initiative is all trainers are in hollow and unhollow. I asked, well, what do we do? Which one do we prioritize? Do we prioritize hollows or do we prioritize trainers? My manager said, prioritize hollows. Okay. So now you know, as you are adjusting this first box and you see there's a bunch of trainers in here and it needs to go into the next box, but there's overflow. All right. Well, now there's an overflow of trainers. What do I do? You put it into the box to the side and you let the manager take it to the back and resort it. Okay, well, now there's another kind of hollow. It's called a Cosmo hollow. It's a promo. What do I do with it? You put it to the side and the manager will handle it. Okay, well, while I'm sorting out these boxes, I have a bunch of different cards from different sets. Do I go ahead and put them back in the box? Nope, you put them in the resort box. So now we have a box to the side where you just put all the cards that had no business being in those boxes in that box. And at the end, you resort it and you put it in the box. And if there's overflow, you give it back to the manager and the manager's going to go resort it in the back. That's it. That is the whole initiative. That is the whole system. Common and uncommons in one box, hollows, reverse hollows, and trainers in another box. If there's overflow, the hollows and reverse hollows are going to be prioritized. Give the overflow to the manager. The manager will get it put away. If it's a Cosmo hollow, give it to the manager and put it away. And now we do this. That is our new initiative. We just completed it. I was able to explain it to you. And now, if you even didn't know what a Pokemon card is, I can show you what each card looks like when you come into the shop. And I can show you how to sort this box. And I was able to explain it to my coworkers. And we had a list that everyone would work through. So everyone was aware of what sets were already reorganized. And so that is an example of a really good initiative. The initiative has a simple standard that can be explained in under 5 minutes, that has it broken down in a way that's tangible without someone being present to make it happen, and is repeatable in a way that ensures the customer's satisfaction. Because there were so many different ways these boxes were sorted. Some of them were sorted by color. Okay, but now no one's keeping up with the color. It's really hard to maintain it. Customers are messing it up because that's what customers do. They're not required to keep these boxes clean. And then we have this arbitrary system that is impossible to keep up with. And it was basically somebody's full time job to keep it clean. And so a good initiative is meant to exist beyond yourself, because the second that it's explained to one of my coworkers, they can now pick up that initiative and ensure it themselves. At any point over the course of the next month, we can make the choice. Okay, we're going to pull the cards out and we're going to clean it up. We got some downtime. Let's reset the boxes. Because now it is a set standard that exists beyond one person being present to make it happen. That is initiative. That is fast is slow, but slow is fast. And so, because I think of my life in those initiative standards, is it repeatable? Can it be explained beyond myself? Am I required to be present to ensure that it is done correctly? And it is repeatable for customer satisfaction. And so, because I approach everything with what a good initiative is, because I know that that is what builds our integrity long term, I am considered a beginner. I am considered new. It doesn't matter how non-cautious I become. It's because I take my time to fully think these things out before launching anything that I am a beginner. So I guess it's less about trying to shape the perception of people who want to so desperately talk down the legitimacy of my practice and the legitimacy of my knowledge, and instead focus more on getting the chance to showcase my chosen perception. And I am excited for those moments. I don't feel the need to stop somebody from intentionally perceiving me incorrectly. What I do want is the opportunity to be able to showcase my abilities and my integrity and why I deserve to be perceived the way that I want to be perceived. And if I lack to change their perception, that is not my fault, because they are making the active choice to warp the chosen perception that I have showcased, because they have made the choice to view me outside of the chosen details that I have showcased to them. And that is not my fault, and it is not my responsibility to fix. And that is something that a lot of people need to recognize as well within their life. You cannot strong arm somebody's perception of you, but you can take any opportunity to showcase the chosen perception that you have. You want to be seen a certain way, so you must take every opportunity to show it. Show it in quantifiable and tangible ways. Make it applicable. Make it to where somebody can go back and pinpoint exact moments where you have showcased your capabilities. That is a portfolio. That is what you're supposed to do. So if you're looking for insight on how to be a content creator and you want to build legitimacy in whatever practice that you are wanting to build legitimacy in, whether that is makeup, whether that is self-care, whether that is self-love or witchcraft or mentorship or stocks, I don't know. But what matters is you cannot change what other people perceive you as other than utilizing the opportunity to build up the portfolio of your chosen perception. Get them something to see. Don't preemptively already assume how they're going to perceive you because you can't change that. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to take ownership of your actions and ownership over your initiative and to show up in the way you want to show up as consistently and make it tangible. Get it out of your head. Get it onto a piece of paper. Post it on YouTube. Post it on TikTok. Post it on TikTok live. Go on Facebook. It doesn't matter where you post it. What matters is it's there for someone to see. What matters is that you are building your portfolio of why you get to stake the claims that you stake and why you get to talk about what you get to talk about. But you don't get to do that until you do that. Okay? So don't hurry up and rush and try to shape someone else's perception of you. Instead, take every opportunity that they try to intentionally perceive you outside of it and showcase. Put it on display the way that you want to be perceived. And so, yes, now my YouTube is aware that I had an eating disorder as a child and I was an anorexic teen that had to be monitored. And yes, now everyone knows that I had sustained abuse and neglect as a child and I had to work through it with my ego. And yes, now everyone knows that I had failed to meet the requirements of one of my positions because I couldn't take the lessons that my mentor and teacher was trying to teach me. But that is because I took those opportunities to learn better and shape myself better into the legitimacy I have today. So, yes, you got some insight into the darker parts of myself, but I chose to share that. That was my choice. This wasn't something that's coming out of nowhere, that is an unexpected revelation. It has been discussed. Several people are aware of this. These aren't things that I hide, they are just things that I choose to implement into my story at the right time when the information is applicable. Again, fast is slow and slow is fast. So, take your time in choosing when you reveal something and instead reveal it when it's going to give the most impact and legitimacy to what you want it to be. This is also a lesson in writing. When you guys are writing a book and you're writing a story and you have information you want to share and get out there, there's a time and place to do it. So I think that's all I have to talk about today. Again, as you can tell, I'm still a little freaking irritated that I keep like getting perceived as a beginner. And honestly, if I'm a beginner after 15 years of doing this, if I'm a beginner after 4 years of weightlifting, if I'm a beginner after 4 months of having my business launched, then so be it. I will showcase why I am still legitimate as a beginner. I will still showcase every opportunity that I receive to put what I believe should be out there. And I am going to mention really quick that I have a spout oil that I am developing right now. It is actually sitting, so it has already been tested by myself and another person, and the results have been working really well. That's what this glamour oil is about. This glamour oil is literally about perception. And so it is sitting to the side and it is waiting. It'll be available for my beta test clients to be able to purchase at a discount and test it out and tell me if the magic actually works before I roll it out for long term purchase. But the Glamour oil is a transmutation oil that is fed by every time someone tries to intentionally perceive you outside of your chosen perception, it's going to amplify your chosen perception. And so it is a self-feeding glamour oil. Glamour is not based on conjuring. It is not meant to conjure something that doesn't exist. It is meant to simply amplify what already exists. It's basically the makeup of the magic world. And so I already did my first batch for myself and another person. It's been really effective. This time I wrote down the actual quantities, I measured it out, I have it all being tested. It is now sitting to like extract, and then it'll be ready in a couple weeks. I'll be rolling it out and hopefully in a couple of months after I have my test clients tell me whether or not it worked, what they did like about it, what they didn't like about it. So I can adjust the ritual, make sure that it's good before rolling it out. I already know that it works for myself, but that doesn't mean that it has a built up the track record of being legitimate enough for me to share with someone else. I does have an esthetician approved stamp basically because one of my mutuals, she is a licensed esthetician. And she got to hear about my process in making it, the ingredients in it, and she said that this is an extremely safe um carrier oil for people to utilize that are acne prone. It's safe for your skin, safe for your hair, safe for your nails. I will be doing the best that I can to ensure that it like meets my quality standards and will not get anybody um injured by any means. There's a lot of spell oils out there that I really do not advocate purchasing. I don't think that they're safe for usage. And so this is one of my initiatives that I am getting ready to release. I will have a spell oil ready in the coming months that will never go away. It is something that I truly like love. It is something that I utilize every single day. It is both a healthcare product and also a um a magic product, and I believe in it. I like it. But just because I made it and it works doesn't mean that it is ready to be rolled out. And so take your time when you are rolling something out. These are people's lives that you guys are playing with magic. And so this is kind of also like a plug for that, but not really because it's not about selling a product. It's about offering a service that I truly believe in on the long term. And if it is effective, it is liked, it is something that people love and care about, it will be something that I maintain stock of because if I'm going to roll something out, it's going to be rolled out for a lifetime. It is not, I'm not the kind of person to hurry up and backtrack and take away whatever it is that I'm putting together because I took the time to put the ingredients together. I took the time, I did the research, I did the meditations, I did the rituals, I did the magic behind it for months before I ever spoke about it. And now I'm speaking about it before it's ready, but that's because this is my portfolio. This is showing that as of 8/12, I have a spell oil that is currently being extracted right now that is going to be getting rolled out for testing. And then after a couple months of it being tested, it'll, whether it is good or bad, I will adjust as needed. And then roll it out again for possibly testing round two. But if it was all good go the first round, then I'll just go ahead and roll it out for sales. So I think that is just about everything. As you can, I'm really passionate about this chosen perception style of viewing the world because you can't strong arm somebody else's autonomy. No matter how much magic you use, you cannot shape the other way that someone chooses to navigate their life and navigate their perception of you. But what you can do is continue to receive new opportunity to showcase it. So I think that is all I have for us today, guys. I am now extremely consistent on TikTok Live. I go on live on TikTok 4 days a week. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Saturdays and Mondays are just hangout days where I'm just kind of talking about witchcraft, giving ideas, not really pulling any cards. But then on Sundays and Tuesdays, I'm doing free readings all night long on a raffle based style pools. So that way it's as ethical as possible. And so if you guys ever feel like stopping in and hanging out, the goal is to try to cross-platform stream. I still did not get approved to be able to cross-platform stream my streaming onto YouTube, and I'm not sure how to make it possible between the two. And then if it's not possible, I might just go on live stream on YouTube itself once a week. We will see, but for sure, I am locked in and consistent for the past 11 weeks on TikTok Live. So again, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time. And it's under the same handle that it is on here, Sarah's Cardboard. 2 days are just hanging out, talking, having fun. I do paid readings on those days, or if anyone wants to like do get a reading, but it's one of the days where I'm just chit-chatting, they can do a paid reading and I'll do it on live. Otherwise, I have the free readings that are raffle based. And then if you do a paid reading on the raffle based days, you get a guaranteed next pool. So you're the next person up. That being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for stopping in, hanging out, having fun, kind of perusing my portfolio. Maybe you're watching this right here as it's uploaded. Maybe you're watching this a couple years down the line and you're just kind of working your way through my content. Doesn't matter. I'm happy to have you guys here and hopefully my consistency sticks. Have a good rest of y'all's day. Thank you.